Good morning. I am Reverend Karin Lewis. I'm one of the senior ministers here at New Vision Center, and it is my joy to be here and to be welcoming all of you into this community that loves to connect with one another. We like to support one another. We celebrate with one another, and every once in a while, we ride the unicorn together. It's not working. No, they said I can point it anywhere. Okay, Patty, I will need ya. Oh, it's such a good picture. We got it? Okay, they gave me the thing. And every once in a while, we ride the unicorn together. This was on the 4th of July, the last party of our Gourmet for God, our fundraisers that we do here at the New Vision Center. And that is, yes, Reverend Leslie riding the unicorn. So, and I thought this would be a great time for me to thank all of the wonderful hostess, sous chefs, chefs, creator of these wonderful Gourmet for God dinners, and all of the people who bought tickets and won their bids. So can we have a big round of applause for all of them and for Bonnie Saba. Bonnie, will you please stand? Come on, Bonnie, you did a fabulous job. Thank you, thank you. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that. So here we are, the 7th of July, and thank you for that fabulous reading, Beverly, of our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, as Beverly said, who wrote that in 1944? 53, okay, 1953, he wrote that. And isn't it pertinent today? Could that be our prayer for our country? I think we're going to put the link to that prayer into the newsletter. So when you get the newsletter, if you get the newsletter, you can go ahead and read it. It's a powerful, powerful prayer. And today, since we're still so close to the 4th of July, I figured I'd wear my 4th of July attire. And the talk title that made itself known to me was, I Pledge Allegiance. And I was surprised. I was surprised because that is not something that I think about often. And what I learned that pledging, okay, now I'm in charge. I said I would be in charge. Now I got the clicker. So to pledge is a binding promise. A binding promise. And allegiance is devotion to a person, a thing, a cause, or in our cases, to a vision. And so the question that we are going to explore today is, what am I and what are we devoted to? What is it that we devote our life to so completely that when the time comes that someone reads our eulogy, they will say, Karin stood for. And hopefully, somebody will say community. I'm going to talk to my peoples. Yes, and so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get really real with ourselves, with this power that we have, this invisible power to visualize, to bring forth the vision of what I want my life to mean, the impact that I want to have on the world. That can be on one beloved, on one child, on a community, on the world. Because what we know is that the freedom that we experience in our own heart uplifts the world. So that's the journey today. And I thought it would help us to anchor into, how did we get here? How did we get to having freedom be the topic of our July? Well, we do this here at the New Vision Center. We have an annual theme. We vision for it all months long. The month of July is usually our visioning month. So right now we are visioning for next year's theme, and we are basing it all on your input, on what we have heard you say to us in those wonderful surveys. And that's how we arrived here. That's how we arrived in 2019 to come together and celebrate spiritual awakening. And you might remember how we have done this. We started with New Thought in January. We moved through love and authenticity, beauty. We prepared ourselves for healing. And then we looked at joy. Last month was a month of joy, and what a joyous month it has been here. And that sets us up beautifully for freedom. Freedom. And we have a new book of the month. It's a small but powerful book. It's by Genevieve Behrend. And this woman, I want to tell you a little bit about her. So she was born in France and then moved to America and became a widow at a very early age. And her husband left her with some financial security to live comfortably, okay, but not to explore the world by any means. And this was a time, about 100 years ago, where the predominant sense was something that Voltaire said, and it is this: every person is a creature of the age in which they live. Very few are able to raise themselves above the ideas of the time. And what do we say to that? Ha! And luckily, that's what Genevieve Behrend also said. She said, that is not for me. That is not for me. I want to live a more expanded life. And luckily for all of us, she continued searching, and she found a teacher that resonated with her. And it was Thomas Troward. And here is what she read that changed her mind. My mind is the center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression, and this means the production of something that is beyond what has gone before, something entirely new. Something entirely new. When Genevieve Behrend read that, she said, that is what I want to study. I want to study with this teacher. Now, Thomas Troward, he's the teacher who gave the New Thought, the wonderful analogy of you plant a seed, goes through the law, through the soil, and it comes out as a plant or the manifestation. I know several people are in the roots class currently. You can impress your teacher with that one when you know. And the teacher asks, where did that come from? You said, Thomas Troward. So Genevieve Behrend decided, I am going to go ahead and study with this teacher. She lived in New York. He lived in Cornwall, England. Internet wasn't a thing yet. So she figured out that it would cost her about $20,000 to go to England, to pay for the passage, and then study with him for 1 to 2 years. She did not have $20,000, which would be in today's currency or buying power about $450,000 to $500,000. Right? Now let's place ourselves into the shoes of this young widow who has a dream, who has a vision. I want to study with this teacher. She came up with 4 steps on how to create what she wants in her life. And I thought we would take those 4 steps, practice them here, now. What do you think? Yes? Wonderful. So the first thing that she said that was so important for her is to realize that the life that you want wants you. So the life that I want wants me. This idea that there is a power in the universe and that we have the right and almost the obligation to realize what is mine to do so that we can bring it forth. Because if we don't bring it forth, chances are there's nobody that brings it forth the way I would have. There was a time in my life 20 years ago. I worked for a German subsidiary of a big bank, and they opened headquarters in Düsseldorf, Germany, and I wanted to go there. I didn't have the background they were looking for. I didn't meet many of the criteria, but I am German, and I brought that to the table. And I stated a claim. I said, I want to move. My whole family wanted to move. The kids wanted to learn to, meet their grandparents on a regular basis. And so we set out, and we had this big vision, and I said, we are moving to Germany. I'm going to be working for this company. And people are like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. Well, it did happen. It did happen. And one of the things that I anchored into was if I wouldn't have this idea, or because I have this idea, the means to make this a reality is inherent in it. In other words, when we have those divine ideas, even if we, our personality, Karin, didn't know how to work it out, I knew that there was a power greater than I am that could work this out. And long and behold, I think it took 4 months, and we all moved to Germany. My entire family moved to Germany. I didn't have the job that I wanted, but I got a great job in the company and stayed there for 2.5 years. And that got my attention. It got my attention. How did I do that? Because I hadn't found science of mind at that time, so I thought it happened by just mere luck. But to come to realize that I applied these 4 steps that Genevieve is talking about. First is to realize that we are co-creating with the universe. It is not, there's the universe, and I'm over here, and I have to move it. No. The allness of life, spirit, is right where I am. That is the truth for every person. Right where you are, right where I am, the divine is. And so if we place ourselves in alignment with it, if we swim with the flow, so to speak, we are not fighting against so many things. And we all know how that feels, don't we? We all know how it feels when we are in alignment, when we are opening up and life moves through us. So the first step that Genevieve invites us in is to recognize that we are co-creating with the universe. And then the next step is to visualize your arrival. Really spend time, preferably after we have been in meditation, we have opened up to this idea that God and I are one. I have my being in that which is greater than I am. And now I bring forth the picture that I want to make manifest in my life, my individual vision. For Genevieve, it was very clear. She wanted to go to England to study with Thomas Troward. She didn't have the $20,000 that it would take. He did write her back, informing her that he didn't take on any pupils, any students. There was that. But she said, that is none of my concern. I am going to study with Thomas Troward. Now take a moment and hearken back to a time in your life where you knew something was yours to do. It might have been to get a degree or to do something. Does everybody have that? A time where you just knew, this is mine to do. I had that a couple times, and it is so wonderful. If you don't have it, I invite you, we're doing a process here in a couple of minutes, really give yourself to the process. Allow to come into your awareness what it is that you want to do, how you want to give back from this gift that you received, that is life. Okay, so we are one with Spirit. We are very clear on our intention. We feel it. Genevieve not only visualized her actually studying with Thomas Troward, she saw herself on that big ship talking to the other people who were going over to England. She felt the wind on her face. She placed herself fully into that picture. She tried it on. And don't tell me you're not good in imagination. We all are. We all are very good in imagining things, right? Usually it's not the good stuff that we imagine. Like anybody who has, had a child come home 4 hours after curfew knows what I'm talking about, right? Then our imagination goes into areas we don't want it to go. But to take this invisible power that we have and to really see ourselves, placing ourselves into our vision. And then the third thing is proceed with absolute certainty. Okay, so we have the vision. Now we need to proceed with absolute certainty. I was thinking about illustrating the difference between having a belief and having absolute certainty. And this wonderful individual, Charles Bodine, came to mind. He is the tightrope walker who walked regularly across the Niagara Falls. He would do that, and sometimes blindfolded, and sometimes he would stop in the middle to fry an egg. Amazing, right? And every time before he would go on the tightrope across the Niagara Falls, the crowd would be cheering. We believe in you. You can make it, Charles. We trust you. We know. Yes. And he would say, okay, you trust that I can do it? Yes. Who wants to ride on my back over with me? Silence. That is the difference between I believe you can do it and I am certain of it. Hold that image. Yeah. And then the fourth and last step that Genevieve invites us in is act quickly, calmly, and confidently. Act quickly, confidently, and calmly. Now, when meditation, we are opening ourselves up to catch the vision for our life. We know what we want to do. We are in alignment with Spirit. We visualize it. We place ourselves in it. We trust fully that it's going to come. Here comes the steps that so many people miss or forget. Here we call it treat and move your feet. It is the action step. When you receive an inspiration, oh, that is what I want to do. Or at least that is what I want to place myself into to see if that is what I want to devote my life to, then it is time to move your feet. If it is to go to Europe, to travel, if that is the vision that you're holding for your life, make sure your passport is valid. So when a friend calls and says, oh my God, I had this trip planned with this other friend, it's already paid for, she can't go, will you come? You say, yes. Wouldn't that be horrible to say, oh, I really would like to go, but my passport is expired? No, don't get caught in that. Yes. Visions. To hold something that lifts us up, that gets us excited about life, that takes us out of our comfort zone. That is what a vision can do for us. And so I would invite you to listen to this optimist creed. This was written in 1912, and it was written by a prolific writer of the New Thought movement, Christian Lawson. He wrote many, many great pieces. You will have this, this creed is on the back of your Keep Me sheet, but what I would invite you to, so you can take it home and read it, but what I would invite you to is to open yourself to listen to these words and to listen to if there's one or two of these statements that really resonate with you, that you want to take on and see how you can build a beautiful vision out of these. They were originally written in the you form, but we changed them to take ownership of it. I promise myself. So here we go. I promise myself to be so strong that nothing can disturb my peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, prosperity to every person I meet. I promise myself to make all my friends feel that there is something worthwhile in them. I promise myself to look at the sunny side of everything and make my optimism come true. I promise myself to think only the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as I am about my own. I promise myself to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature I meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of myself that I have no time to criticize others. I promise myself to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. To think well of myself and to proclaim this fact to the world, not in loud words, but in great deeds. And to live in the faith that the whole world is on my side so long as I am true to the best that is in me. Yes. Now come back into this room. You might have heard one or two statements in there that really inspire you. Or you might say, Karin, who can live like that? Right? But that is what a vision is. A vision lifts us up out of the comfort of our everyday living. I guess one could write a vision as I am going to be smiling at people who are nice to me. That could be a part of a vision. It doesn't quite lift us up, though. I promise to be happy if everything is going well. I promise to give respect once it's earned. No, those are not visions. A vision is something that lifts us up. And here's my invitation for this week. My invitation is for you to get up in the morning, get your coffee or tea, meditate for a few moments, and take one of those statements and memorize it. Or to get up in the morning, have your coffee or tea, and meditate and write down with your hands one of those statements. Or to read it 10 times. But just pick one a day. We're going to do that in our morning meditation. You have heard that at 7 o'clock in the morning, many of us get together on the computer, some of us in pajamas, and we meditate together for 15 minutes. And this coming week, we are going to use the Optimist Creed. But the invitation is for you to make it personal. Rewrite it in your own words. Allow it to fill your vision of what you are going to do with your life, with this amazing gift that we all have been given. And then let me know how that works out for you. Thank you. And so let us anchor all of this in prayer. If I may ask the practitioners in the room to please stand with me to hold this consciousness of the one life, this one power that is permeating everything and everyone. That is right where I am. We recognize it as love and peace, as compassion, as inspiration, as joy, as freedom. And as we place ourselves in the center of this experience, we bring forth the vibration, the great I am, allowing anything that is unlike these qualities to just melt away into the background from which they came, so that all that we are left with is potentiality, is the certainty that I am placed here for a reason and that I give it my all to bring it forth, to make it manifest, to let the world see who I am. As I speak this word for myself, I speak it for every person that is in the sound of my voice, every person that ever thinks about the New Vision Center, knowing that the great I am, that is the divine, makes itself known by oh so many ways. A smile, a thought, a hug, love. And how grateful I am to be sharing the power with the world, the recognition of goodness, of loving kindness, of eternal truth. So I place this word into universal law. I let it be. And together we anchor this truth as we say, and so it is.